All right, guys. Thank you for joining me tonight. This is going to be. This is probably going to run over the normal time by a little bit. There's a lot to talk about with this whole solar eclipse. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of interesting points being made, and there are points being made all over the place. There's a lot of, I guess, stupid points or ideas being thrown out there, but whatever. All right, Prep to Adapt. Thank you for the. Sorry, thank you for the 5x5. Dan Phillips, Ozark Prepper, Jeep Girl, Flown Grown, Crystal, Lisa, Bicknell, Lisa Lawson, thank you for the 5x5. Maria Jackson, thank you for the 5x5. Dan Phillips, thank you for the 5x5. Big Papa, WTC, Ozark Negro, Cat Girl, Joe, Mossberg, Prime Prepper, Eric, thank you for the 5x5. AJ, thank you for the 8x9. Sunshine, Dobie, Crow, Grit and Grace, thank you for the 5x5. Elaine, what's going on? Denise, thank you for the 5x5. Brent, what's going on? Angie, thank you for the 5x5. Groundhog, Lexi, Prep Revelator, what's going on? Jordan, thank you for the 5x5. 1 second after. Kathleen, Simmons, Tanya, if I said that right. Adriana, thank you for the 5x5. Clara, thank you for the 10x10. Prime Prepper, thank you for the donations. I appreciate it. Let's fix this bullshit. So, guys, a lot is being said about this eclipse. A lot. Again, there's a lot of red flaggy things, and there are more red flaggy things the closer we get to the the eclipse. So, yeah. A lot going on. AZ, Juan, Buy the Book, Kevin, thank you for the 5x5. Silverman, thank you for the 5x5. Let's see, who else? All right, Anne Marie, Greg, Francine, Mike, for the doggies, thank you for the 5x5. So, and Sojourner. All right, so let's get right into it. So, there's, again, guys, there's a lot being said both ways. There's a lot of stupid shit being said. There's a lot of dumb shit being dumb and stupid are the same, one and the same. There's a lot of interesting things being said. There's a lot of dumb shit being said. So we have to keep, I just keep our wits about us, if anything. You know what I mean? There's always going to be a conspiracy theory, and I like conspiracy theory, so this is going to be somewhat of a conspiracy theorist show today. Some things are making sense. Some things are panning out to make sense. And then other things are, we have to wait and see. Prep to Adapt, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Comet Moon, thank you for the 5x5. NP and Finley the dog, thank you for the 5x5. So, let's get into it. Because, I mean, there's a lot going on. Also, this year, guys, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm reading this correctly, the Biden administration will be selling out the Prime Prepper. Thank you for the donation. Again, appreciate it. The Biden administration will be selling out the U.S. sovereignty to the WHO treaty. Now, it's not so much the U.S. sovereignty. I know, and again, I hate to even stand up for the Biden administration, but it's not our sovereignty, more than it is medical authority, which are two totally different things. But the medical authority being given to who is a segue into our freedoms, right? So we have to keep that in mind. We don't want to, I don't know, I guess misrepresent it, but it's more about our freedoms, our medical freedoms, which then turn into our actual freedoms, as they'll start to, who will be given the power, for example, over social media, to curtail whatever is being said that they don't like. They're already doing it in a couple of other countries right now. They don't have that power in the United States, but once they get that power, they'll never lose it. So, and they'll force social media companies to absolutely try to keep us in line, if that makes sense. So we have to wait and see what that's going to look like. But this pandemic treaty supposedly is going to be agreed upon May of this year. They're going to have their annual General Assembly. My God. The WHO Assembly in May of this year will have to shit or get off the pot kind of deal, if that makes any sense. And a lot of it is based around the disease X hypothesis theory, right? So the disease X theory that there's this thing out there lying in the cut, and who wants to have complete and total control over whatever medical decisions are made. So this is going to give them that power to do so, and they're using disease X, a hypothetical disease, to usher people into signing this treaty, if that makes any sense. So with that, remember I said that. Remember that what I just said, because we're going to be talking about something a little later in the show about a bioweapons attack, possible bioweapons attack, sorry, that might be unfolding. And again, I'm not worried about any of this stuff. I have to start out by saying one thing, guys. I don't worry about 99.9 of the shit that I talk about on here at all. I don't worry about it because I'm not worried about it until it happens. When it happens, then we can start running around scared bitches and folding up like origami. Until that point, there's no use in worrying about it or panicking. But it is good to discuss. Thank you, Prime Prepper, again for the donation. Appreciate it. So, okay, sorry. I thought I read that wrong. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of things going on with this eclipse. And what I just talked about with the pandemic treaty, we're going to try to get that wrapped into this conversation today. So this will probably go over, but I got a long list of red flags about this eclipse. And as the day went on, the list got longer. And I'm like, my God, there's a lot going on. People are talking about all kinds of shit. There are YouTube channels talking about the end of the world. There's YouTube channels talking about the beginning of the tribulations. There are YouTube channels talking about a possible terror attack. And I think that's those two, Doug and Stacy. They were talking about it. And I take what those two say with a grain of salt. But there was something he said that I learned about that he said, well, I don't know if he said it today. He might have said it a couple of days ago, but I just watched the video a few minutes ago. And I'm like, interesting. And then the Prepper Revelator, he told me something yesterday, the day before yesterday, and I put two and two together, and I'm like, So, just interesting things that are starting to pop up. So what we're going to do is talk about the higher power of the eclipse. So a total eclipse is near. For some, it's evidence of a higher power. So a lot of people are seeming to believe that this is the beginning of the end. Or this is the beginning of the tribulations. And a lot of you that follow the Bible or read the Bible know that tribulations last for a long time, but it's nothing but mayhem during those years. With that, on April 8th, Gatesville, Texas, member of a Covell Community Church will congregate at the campus hilltop site at where a trio of 70-foot crosses tower over the city of 17 million. Am I reading that? That's wrong. Yeah, of 17,000, 30 miles west of Waco. The region lies in the center of the approaching solar eclipse path of totality. Now, when I say totality, guys, totality means that that's the total blockage of the moon in front of the sun. Right? Here in New York, I think we're getting 89%. In Connecticut and Jersey, they're getting 90 and 91 or 90 and 94. And then everywhere else, like California is like 60-something%, and Wisconsin's like 73 or whatever it is. So it varies where you are. So at 91%, I'm 89% in New York. I'm fine. I don't need to go to Bucks County. That's in PA, but just like West Bumblefuck somewhere, and sleep out, be out of my home for 5 days or 4 days because I want to watch 4 minutes of an eclipse. So 90% is fine. It'll be okay. And there's a lot of problems with traveling outside of that. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Let me finish this article. The region lies in the center of an approaching eclipse path to totality, the last such event to affect the contagious United States. Contagious United States until. So the next total eclipse will be in 2024. 2044. Supposedly that's going to be over the East Coast. Supposedly. I don't know. Ancient cultures viewed the dust-like darkness prompted by the passing of the moon between the earth and the sun, temporarily blocking the sunlight, as a sign of God's anger or even their impending departure or arrival. Some religions believe that there's arrival of certain gods or arrival of certain beings once the sky gets dark. I wonder how many people were killed, witches or people, right, were killed. Witches and warlocks were killed because the sky got dark, and they were like, Harry, get him, you know, and like they fucking strung him up, hung him, and burned him kind of shit. Instead of Covell's Eclipse of the Crosses, family gatherings will feature live music, games, worship, occasion to celebrate. Meanwhile, the organizers at the Jewish Community Center at the Greater Buffalo have bought 1,000 eclipse sunglasses for viewing event, complete with black and white half moon cookies. Half moon cookies are fucking disgusting. Do not get me started on that. I can't stand black and white cookies. Holy shit. I'd rather rip my eyeballs out than eat those fucking things. Sorry. So this is the Jews doing this now. All right, so yeah, we want the Christians, the Jews. As faithful convenes in scattered Christian, Jews, and Muslim communities around the county, the gathering reflect how celestial event, once seen as an ominous but some religious community, continue to wield spiritual significance today. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Muslims view it as a sign from God, but it's like a good thing and that they should pray. If I'm not mistaken, if I got that right. So basically, this article is just talking about how other religions are going to look at this and handle this in a nutshell. The eclipse has inspired fear and awe amongst civilizations throughout history, from Aztecs to the ancient Hindus. They are also associated with some major religious events, including the darkness that accompanied Jesus' crucifixion in Christianity, and in Islam, the passing of the Prophet Muhammad's son, Ibrahim. Right, his son passed during the eclipse, and people took that as a sign. Some people will just say that's coincidence. All right. As the Bible Gospel, Mark 15:33 reads, "And the 6th hour had come, and there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour." Such reference often emphasizes the power of God over the cosmos, says James Willis, an associate professor, practice of religion, yada yada yada. All right. So again, guys, a lot of people are taking this as a religious sign. Someone said black and white cookies are the best. Yeah. And Navajo Indians see it as a rebirth. Thank you, Big Chase. Right, so everybody looks at this differently. And the one thing, and I'm not trying to discount any religious beliefs in this, but I'm about to discount it. There's too many different beliefs, right? One can't be good and the other can't be bad, and both of these parties wholeheartedly believe that something good and something bad is going to come out of this, right? Rebirth doesn't necessarily mean something good. It could mean something bad as well. But everybody has different aspects of this. When something happens, they used to burn witches at the stake when there was an eclipse like this. Animals would act erratic and wild, and they would blame it on like one person. You know, if something happened and a baby was born, if I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn I read a while ago when I was a kid that some babies were killed during the eclipse because they thought that was evil. They looked at them as being a demon during that moment of the eclipse, and babies were killed. So again, everybody has a different way of looking at it. So when it comes to religious beliefs, I sort of shun those. I don't sit there and go all in. So now, TikTokers are convinced this is one of the stupider thinkings. TikTokers are convinced that the solar eclipse will break our world's simulation. So for people who think we're in a simulation, a lot of people think that some people, very few, because this is the first time I'm hearing about this, very few people think that the eclipse is going to break us out of our simulation. That we're going to wake up like in the Matrix or some shit. I don't know. I don't think so. But anyway, one of the most common claims that have been circulating online in the past couple of months is that the solar eclipse will pass over 6, 7, or 8 towns, depending on who you ask. Towns called Nive, right? Am I saying that? Or is it Nineve? Nineve in the United States and Canada. TikTokers have produced a map that claims to show the path of totality going over these towns. Naive, if I'm saying that right, was a town visited by biblical figure Johann, a Hebrew prophet who lived in the 8th century BCE, and some social media influencers believe an eclipse took place when Johann was in the town of Naive. I'm pretty sure one of you guys are going to correct me on the pronunciation, as you always do, meaning the same thing will happen in modern day America on Monday. In reality, the path of totality isn't going over 6, 7, or 8 towns named Naive. The totality is only passing over 2 of those towns, in Ohio and in Indiana, which certainly makes claim this is a sign from God sounds less ominous. Conspiracy theorists also note that some small town mayors are making disaster declarations in leading up to the eclipse. But this, yet again, is an example of people taking things out of context. Officials in Dripping Springs, Texas, have promoted the town as a great place to watch the eclipse, and the city council signed a disaster declaration last week. The town made it clear that this is a prudent step to mobilize resources for an influx of tourists. A lot of Nineveh. All right. Nineveh. Whatever, dudes. You get what I'm fucking saying. So, that's the bigger problem for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to travel to this 115-mile wide strip of area that's going to be in the totality of the eclipse. 115 miles wide. You're going to have possibly 50 million people reaching that area and flooding that area. Again, though it's thousands of miles long, it's only 115 miles wide. So you're going to have a lot of people in that area, and a lot of places are putting themselves in a state of emergency so that they can get resources, either government funding or funding from their state, to help them out with the problem that they're going to be facing with, which is going to be traffic, gas, and food, and communication disruption. All of those people in one spot are undoubtedly going to cause a communication disruption. If you happen to go and you're in one of those areas where your communication is disrupted, you're going to rely on text. Text is going to work a little better than phone. Phone's not going to get you. It's not going to get you anywhere. If you're going to go to one of these places, make sure you have an extra gas can filled up and that your tank is filled up when you get there. Make sure you have enough food to last you at least a couple of days, because this traffic, I can almost bet, is going to last a few days. People think they're going to be in and out. You're not going to be in and out. Like, not at all. People are probably going to jam up highways, roadways, and just streets to watch this event. So you could be sitting in traffic for a long while. Never mind the fact that if you're actually in that traffic that's moving at a snail's pace, that's more aggravating than anything. Just pull over to the side of the road, wait till the road is cleared the next day or the day after that, and then move on. Make sure you bring enough food and water with you, and yes, some beer, in case you get stuck in one of these events. Because nothing sucks more than to be hungry, pissed, and stuck in traffic with no food and water. Trust me. While the city does not anticipate any significant issues, expect this to be an amazing experience for residents and visitors, enacting a disaster declaration in the advance of the event activity. So a lot of places, guys, are enacting this. It's not the end of the world. The Texas Department of Transportation estimates roughly 1 million people will visit Texas for the solar eclipse, and that kind of influx can stress infrastructures in tiny towns. The New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management held a press conference on Wednesday last week about the potential of cell phone and power outages during the eclipse as the system sees an influx of visitors, people draining from the system. New York State campgrounds are going to be at 93% capacity on Monday, according to state officials. So if you don't have a camping spot now, there are a couple of camping spots you can go to upstate New York in that area, and I would suggest you get there either early Sunday morning or Saturday afternoon. Don't play yourself and get there late. If I decide to go, it's going to be last minute, and I might take my son, and I might try to get a good spot. Other than that, I'll keep my ass here. 89% is just as good. So where are we? All right. So again, guys, apocalyptic predictions have been, has been said for a long time. So many people have predicted the end of the world from here to now, but there are things that we should be discussing tonight that we are going to start discussing. Now, solar eclipse myth. This is my personal favorite one. And again, it could be real. It might not be. A solar eclipse of this magnitude, guys, is getting everyone's attention. And again, NASA, their red flaggy, what they want to do is super red flaggish. But my personal favorite is the portals for demons. That an eclipse like this could open up portals for demons, and demons could come in. Now, that doesn't mean physically, it means spiritually. So we could watch more people being possessed, acting erratic. That's my personal favorite myth, myth. Then you got satanic rituals that might be performed during that hour. We won't know about a lot of those until after the fact, and even then we might not know. But there are often satanic rituals or rituals of some kind done during the eclipse. As a lot of you might know, the whole red heifer thing, supposedly, and I did the video, I released it, and lo and fucking behold, what do I see? A news clipping, not a news clipping, but a news segment where in Israel, they flew over 4 red heifers from Texas. And of course, after I do the video, I'm like, motherfucker. And so they fly over 4 red heifers from Texas. And they're going to slaughter one of them or all 4 of them. They didn't even answer that straight. But they're going to slaughter them on the day of the eclipse, at the hour of the eclipse, the totality. They're not seeing it, so I don't know how that works for them. Like, I thought you had to do that sacrifice underneath the totality of the solar eclipse and not it being in America. So whatever time they're going over at the totality, they got to do it at our time, I guess. And they're going to slaughter it at this stage that they set up for it. Then they're going to burn the carcass and do the whole, religious ash thing, Third Temple, Return of Christ, the whole 9 yards. Not so much the Return of Christ, sorry, but they're gonna spread the ashes and build the Third Temple. Sorry. So there is that, and there's some rituals somewhere around the world, or rituals around the world, going to be done during the eclipse. There was another eclipse myth: witches gaining power, or powers being magnified. I've always heard that growing up. Sacrifice for demon portal. Rock out, blackout. That's not a bad one. It's not a bad theory. But again, these are all myths. So yes, I always heard that like some witches can gain power or receive power, or powers magnified during an eclipse. That's one myth. End of times. Every time there's an eclipse, people think the world's going to fall into a black hole and we're all going to die. And that's been since the beginning of time because we didn't have an understanding of eclipse, and we are still here. Some people will look at a solar eclipse and think good times ahead, so that everything's going to be hunky-dory. Not if you live in America, not if you live under this administration. Shit isn't good, nor is it going to be good. Even with Trump back in office, guys, things are not going to get better right away, but nonetheless, yeah. Laughing doves. I have been receiving numerous texts from the Bible, or about the Bible on the eclipse. I have read a lot of those. And yes, there could be some truth to it. But again, for every time we've had a solar eclipse, from when the Bible was written, after the Bible was written to now, we've had a lot of these solar eclipses. And none of that has happened. Though we are in seemingly end times, this eclipse could be a little different. So I do give you that. But I have been reading a lot of the passages, if you will. Sorry. Red hair heifers coming over my house tomorrow. Very good. So now, here are the red flaggy things about the the eclipse. Power outages. Now, a lot of the power outages are most likely going to be due to the strain on the system that people are creating in these towns along the totality path. So the totality path, there should be, not that it should be, but there might be power outages in that area. There might also be communication issues as well because everybody's draining the system. That's all it is. Listen, if there's a blackout here in New York City, there's a problem. So if the blackout winds up being nationwide or worldwide, there's a definite issue. Christian Prepper, yeah, he's right. Not everything's a sign. But I'm entertaining all of it because it's fun. I think it's fun. Oh, weird animal behaviors. The 2017 eclipse, and there was one last year, from what I just told. I think Prepper Revelator's wife had mentioned there was a solar eclipse last year, but that was on the other side of the planet. We couldn't see it. And that was another one, and people were like, I remember last year people bringing it up. After she brought it up, I forgot about it. I'm like, I remember people saying there's a solar eclipse next year, last year, but they were bringing it up, and they were like, there's a solar eclipse, it's on the other side, but it's supposed to be X, Y, and Z, and then nothing happened, right? So, again, we got another solar eclipse next Monday. And listen, I don't think anything's going to happen. I really don't. Other than animals acting weird, their behavior acting weird. 2017, we had a solar eclipse. Animals didn't act weird, but they are so sure. They're so sure that animals are going to be acting weird all over the United. Rather, in the path of the eclipse, animals are going to be acting weird. There are dog experts saying keep your dog inside so they don't look up at the sun, whatever that means. And then my dog never looks up to the sun. Even if it got dark, my dog's not going to all of a sudden look and go, where's the sun? I don't think dogs are that smart. Not the point. But a lot of people are warning about animal behavior. Even NASA is asking you to record your animal's behavior. I find that to be a little weird. Also, NASA is requesting you to, or asking you to record sounds. I'm going to tell you right fucking now. I hear anything other than the wind blowing, I'm going to start punching people in the face. So I'm like, what would be making that sound? It better be somebody next to me, like burping or farting. I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear a demonic voice. I don't want to hear the horns in the sky. I don't want to hear a fucking thing other than the wind blowing. Now, it can get eerily silent because the animals will, if you're in a forest, that is. If you're in a forest during a solar eclipse, you're going to hear the animals go silent like that. You're going to be like, what the fuck just happened? Who turned the off switch on? The off switch on, right? Who turned off the fucking animals? You're going to be looking around like, where the fuck did they go? They didn't go anywhere. They're just silent. Fish acting weird in Florida all month, Ali Key said. What if all animals start dying? Jordan, if all animals start dying, that's a problem. Right? But we hear trumpets and shit, yo, it's on. I'm going to start throwing haymakers, just out of sheer panicking. I'm going to start throwing haymakers at people. Anyway, so there's that, right? The sound of the eclipse, animal behavior, communications issue. NASA's launching 3 rockets. They're supposed to go into the ionosphere to measure, I think it's frequency, to see what's interrupting communications at the satellites at those levels, at that level rather. Sorry. So they want to know if those satellites are going to be disrupted. I think NASA is undoubtedly hiding something far more nefarious from us. There is no way, guys, that NASA is asking us to record what's going on, record animal sounds, record the sound of the eclipse. They're like, shh, listen, right? They're asking us to record everything that goes on, and then they're shooting 3 rockets into the sky. There's a lot of red flag things going on with NASA, and then they're calling it citizen science. I never heard of that term, so now all of a sudden we're scientists, and if we're all scientists, guys, that means maybe we could rewrite the book on the whole Mr. 19 event, right? We could tell people what works and what doesn't, because technically now we're scientists, right? We're citizen scientists. But anyway, there's going to be flight issues as well. I'm not sure as to why. They think that the instruments on the planes are going to act bizarre, as they put it, the FAA puts it. So there'll be plane disruption or interference or flight delays a couple of days before and after the eclipse. Now, if there's that much communication disruption from this eclipse, again, something is not being said about this. If the FAA is giving out warnings on this whole thing, so that's something to consider. And if you are flying that day, change your fucking flight to the day later or the day before. Earthquakes. Earthquakes can definitely be a thing, being that this path of the totality of the eclipse is following the Madrid fault line, the new Madrid fault line, sorry. The new Madrid fault line is a big to-do, hasn't snapped or let go in a few hundred years, if I'm not mistaken. And so with that could be a possibility. The other possibility is the moon could be magnified by the sun's power and cause flooding or tsunamis. I think the closer we get to that date, you might, if you live on the coast, you might get a warning about flooding and or tsunamis. National Guards are being deployed not all over the United States, but within the totality path of the eclipse. National Guards are being dispatched. But they're being dispatched to help with the traffic and any other problems they might have. Terry said, I'm staying inside. Yeah, I want to be outside. I'm going to be outside with my camera, like the rest of the nerds, looking up at the sky. Now, let's see, what else we got? Oh, 2 species of locusts. Now, somebody just said cicadas are not locusts, but those 2 species of cicadas, are hatching or coming out of the ground that day. Now, listen, when it comes to cicadas, when it comes to locusts and bugs like that hide in the ground, they do not all come out on the same day. If these motherfuckers all come out on the same day, we are undoubtedly going to hear it. And when I mean hear it, I mean all bets are off. If these cicadas come out of the ground, these are 2 different species that don't come out together. They take turns, if you will, when they come out. If they, supposedly scientists are saying that both species are coming out together during the eclipse or on the April 8th, on that day. There's no set date for cicadas to come out, as they don't all come out at the same time. Majority of them do. A majority of them wake up along the same week, next few days, but not all on one day. Prime Prepper, thank you for the donation again. Thank you for the donation. And Chris Hill, thank you for the donation. Appreciate it, man. So, I don't know. A lot of people, again, are freaking out about the whole cicada thing. I don't know. Listen, if they do come out at the same time, all in one, yeah, then it is definitely the end of times. And you better grab your Bible and start praying. Food, gas, and cell service shortage issues. There probably will be gas and food shortage in those towns, smaller towns, that are getting inundated with people. Now remember, a lot of these towns probably never seen a person, let alone that many people. So if you happen to end up in one of those small towns, keep in mind, guys, their fuel tanks are probably smaller because they don't have that many people passing through. The last time it's been was 200 years ago. All right. So a lot of these places don't have that many people. Now all of a sudden they went from having 3 people in their town to close to 10,000 people. So their fuel storage is way smaller. So make sure you have your fuel tank fueled up, and make sure you have an extra canister if you can afford to bring that with you. Food can also be an issue as well, because they can definitely run out of food in that area. As again, if you got 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 people showing up to your area, you're definitely going to have food problems, because you're going to have food shortages because you're not going to have enough food. The problem is a lot of these places don't want to order more than they normally do because they don't want to get screwed. And I understand that. So if you're going to go to one of these small towns, brown bag your shit, please. Bring your own sandwich or whatever it is with you, or sandwiches, or peak refuel, or nutrient survival. Bring something with you. Bring camping gear. Bring or a mat to sleep in the back of your truck if you have one. If not, bring camping gear and sleep out in the wilderness and enjoy the Hills Have Eyes vacation, because you'll undoubtedly get raped in one of those places and killed and robbed, and not in that order. So, guys, the Hadron Collider will be activated April 8th as well. They're looking for the ghost particle. I think they're looking for something else. I think the ghost particle is a bullshit ruse. And they're looking for something. Again, the ghost particle is a theory. And they're trying to entertain all their theories with the collider. So that being said, they're starting it on the 8th, and I think they're going to fully power it up when the eclipse happens. I think that they're trying to see if they can open up a portal. A portal of what? Who the fuck knows? They're not saying that because they know people are going to flip out. But I think they're trying to rip a portal open. But again, that's my little conspiracy theory. Nuclear biological team being dispatched. So, there is a nuclear biological team being dispatched. Let me get that article up and running. Let's see if I can find it first. Oh, wait, I did. So the nuclear biological team is actually there's a name for them, the facts. Okay. It's the Oklahoma's National Guards. They are actually the 63rd Civil Support Group. So the 63rd Civil Support Group, part of the Oklahoma National Guard. They're being dispatched, as the article says, for traffic and crowd control. The 63rd Civil Support Group is actually an elite hazmat group. So they deal with nuclear, biological hazmat material, and they're being dispatched for crowd control and traffic. I'm not buying that. So this article in the Newsweek, they're sitting there trying to cover it up, and then they're telling you bullshit. I'm like, what do you think, we're fucking stupid and new? I'm like, so obviously, guys, somebody thinks that something else is definitely amiss. And if you're deploying a fast-paced elite team like that, yeah, something isn't right about that. But again, that's the you guys can look this up. 63rd Civil Support Team, part of the National Guard. They are a chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear unit. So why would they be dispatching them? Something to think about. So there's a rumor of a bioweapon being sprayed in the air. The moon supposedly is going to turn red or to rust. And there's rumors of a terror attack in the cities, starting with, of course, you guessed it, New York. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. Now, the effects of the solar eclipse, guys, is going to be felt for days. This is not going to, it's going to be before and after. So whatever happens with the, beginning of the eclipse, or the closer the moon gets to getting in front of the sun, we should start seeing weird things happen. But again, we have to wait and see. People are descending onto San Antonio. San Antonio's getting ready for this as best they can. Supposedly, they got thousands of people, tens of thousands of people going up there, or down there. Sorry, they're already stating there's going to be a gas and food problem, a grocery problem. It's probably a good idea to fill up your gas tank ahead of the eclipse day, as lines are expected to be very long. Also, be sure to stock up on snacks and groceries, since lines will be long there as well. Don't forget your furry friend, meaning get pet food. I hate when they say that shit. And stock up on provisions for them as well. A lot of places are telling you, even if you're not going, again, another red flag. A lot of places are telling you, even if you're not going, to stock up on food and fill up your tanks. Again, just a bit red flaggy. Cell service. A lot of people seem to think in those areas, not think, but know, because we experienced it. We experienced that with New Year's Eve, right? When the ball drops, sometimes you can't get through to people because everybody's calling everybody Happy New Year's. Well, this is going to be along the same lines, because you're going to have so many people inundated in one area that you're definitely going to have interruptions in your cell phone. So you got to take that into account. Also, they're talking about restaurants in San Antonio being packed. Wear eclipse glasses if you're going to look up at the sun. There is an idiot online. Now, I looked up at the eclipse in 2017. It wasn't a total block. I also didn't go blind. That being said, I am not advocating for you guys to go looking into the eclipse. There is a guy online telling people to look into the eclipse. He's like, take your glasses off and look directly. I can't even look at this fucking thing in front of me directly. And this guy wants you to look into the eclipse directly and stare at it. I'm like, do me a favor. When you have 500 people that burned out their cornea because they looked directly in the sun and stared at it, you're definitely going to have fucking problems. But this guy's telling people not to wear glasses and look directly into the sun. Okay? Be mindful of the first responders. Be mindful of the fact that local and state first responders are expected to be in huge demand before, during, and after the eclipse. Now, I am working that day, so I am praying to all high heavens that I don't get a call at that moment because I want to take some pictures. Or I might just get off that day so I don't have to deal with the bullshit. But I shall see what that's going to look like. They're also asking you, no matter where you go, allow for extra travel time. Obviously, guys, even if you're planning to travel a short distance, be prepared to wait in traffic for a long time. That means packing water, snacks, prescription drugs, and anything that you may need for a long car trip. Like I said, try to camp if you can. Bring camping equipment with you. Stay on the side of the road or disappear off into the tree lines and hang out in there for the day. Bring chairs with you too, those foldable chairs. Several school districts will also be closing schools along the totality path. So the path of the eclipse, guys, a lot of schools are going to be closed. I wouldn't be surprised if schools near the area will close as well. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to talk about, because this is the big rumor that's going around the internet. Not so much the internet, but one channel, and people are starting to push this. So, let's go. There are two things, actually, that we need to talk about. One's going to be the terror attack. Let's start with that first. Supposedly, during the eclipse, during the totality, wherever that is, or the peak, if you will. Sorry, because here in New York, it's 89%, so that's the peak. That there's going to be terror attacks throughout the country. And that people, or these guys, are strategically lining themselves up so that when it goes down, they're going to affect mass casualties as everybody's staring at the eclipse and not paying attention to what's going on around them. So that's one rumor. Adriana says schools are closed in New York. Are they closed for the 8th? I didn't know that. When the fuck does anybody tell me these things? Anyway, I didn't know that shit. All right. So there is that. And they're expecting it to be, of course, a group of dudes, Muslims, that are going to start their shit, Allahu Akbar, and they're going to start firing into a crowd as people are staring at this thing. Now, a lot of people are probably going to gather at Central Park, where you're going to have open fields, and then you can see the sun at that point. I think it's at 12. So 12 o'clock is around 12:30. It's around this way. So it's south of us, more southeast. Southeast is where the sun should be during the eclipse, and I think the totality, or 89%, will be like almost dead over Manhattan. And that is a great spot if you want to off a lot of people, would be Central Park. So there's something to consider with that. I'm going to pay attention to PD security at the closer we get to see if they change their tactics and their pattern. I'm also going to ask somebody about that as well to see whether or not there's going to be increased security over this. But again, it's just a rumor. Don't sit there and be like, that nigga on Angryprepper. Don't say that shit. I'm just going over the rumors I'm hearing. That's why we discuss rumors. And the reason why we discuss rumors, guys, is because there have been things that were mentioned, and when it happened, people were still shocked and awe. They were like, oh my God, you know? And they were like, and so had they paid attention to this shit, they wouldn't have been shocked and awe, and they would have been able to handle it accordingly. Now, the bigger thing of this is the bioweapons being sprayed in the air along the path of the totality. Right? So with the totality, guys, there's supposedly a C-130 Hercules spraying some kind of contaminant into the air along the eclipse path. The air will be sprayed 2 hours before and I think an hour after. Now, the spray is said to, again, rumor, Rumor. The spray is said to have some kind of be a biological weapon that's going to use people as the vectors to, again, gather in a small strip, get sprayed, and then afterwards leave from there and start spreading the contagion around. 50 million people in one spot, in one spot, dispersing from there, you're going to get millions of people. Again, it's a rumor. So the chemical, and again, guys, this goes back to the chemical, biological, radiological group, the 63rd Civil Support Team being dispatched as this rumor is flying around. Yes, just use Lysol. Wash your hands and your face with Lysol, guys. You'll be okay, right? So I found that to be a little interesting. Biological team being moved. Sorry, a CBRN, right? Right, a CBRN unit being moved around as this shit's being sprayed. And again, they said they're going to use 1 or 2 C-130s to do this. Again, rumor. All right. This unit, guys, is trained to provide expert support in events of chemical, biological, nuclear, radiological, and high-yield explosives related emergencies. Right? Keep that in mind. So, all of this being said, now I'm going to go back to the Biden administration negotiating a controversial global pandemic treaty with WHO, which again is said to be possibly signed this coming May, next month rather. Rip Curl. Listen, if these idiots look at the sun, the shit's on up. It really is. Because all I'm going to do is fucking laugh as they're rolling around in pain. But, there's a lot, guys, that just makes sense, and some things are far-fetched. I don't put anything past anyone in this day and age. With everything going on, with everything being on the table, with them trying to create chaos for the election, I don't put anything past them. So we have to, unfortunately, have to wait and see. Now, do I personally think anything's going to go down? No. Is all of this stuff in the back of my head in case it goes down? Absolutely. It's called being ready, right? It's what we do, guys, when we be ready, when you want to be ready, right? For example, for people to go to gun ranges, right? You guys go to gun ranges all the time to be proficient shooters, to also get the mentality and the mental capacity to actually pull your gun out and get busy. So you do this shit. You run scenarios through your head all the time. Everybody who carries a firearm runs every scenario through their head that they possibly can. At least a good shooter does. Every scenario that happens, you're playing, you're war gaming in the head. Well, what happens if this? What if this dude comes here and then there's a kid over there? Like, you war game every possible scenario. That's what a lot of us prepper channels are doing. We're war gaming every possible scenario that can happen. Not about fear mongering. It's about getting ready mentally. So when it does pop off, you could, as you're running, you were like, I remember when that black dude told me that shit. And then you're like, you run off into the sunset and handle what you got to handle. But you're getting ready for whatever it is, right? And this is what I'm doing on here. Just putting shit in the back of your head. Do I believe any of this is going to happen? No. Would I be surprised if any of this happened? Absolutely not. Absolutely. Listen, with everyone trying to screw this election up this year, with everything going against Trump this year, I would not be fucking surprised, guys, if some shit went down in November. I would not be surprised if this stuff led up to November and then they go, oh, we can't hold an election, martial law, and then that's it. So all of this shit going down, guys, is just very, very suspect, right? And then everybody warning you about food shortages, and no matter where you are, they're telling you to pack up on food, right? Stock up on food. Fill up your tank. Now, granted, I'm going to fuel up my tank. I'm doing all of that just in case shit gets crazy. Just in case. Because this is crazy time. And listen, none of this has to be supernatural, Bible angle. This could be a nut, guys, right now as we speak, rubbing peanut butter and jelly on his balls while masturbating to Silence of the Lambs, wondering how he's going to take out a few hundred people because the eclipse is telling him to. There's a psych patient right now saying the moon is talking to him and wants him to do some fucked up shit. You know? So, we just don't know this day and age, guys. Kaya, thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry, I was in the zone. As you say it. All right, we just don't know, man. I mean, there's so many psych patients out there. Listen, there is something wrong with society today, and I'm going to talk about that Thursday night. But there is something wrong with society, guys. I watched a video of a girl getting the shit kicked out of her for apparently no reason. She was apologizing for no reason. But while they were beating her up, they were spitting on her. All right, that I would have turned into fucking Thundercats and started scratching their eyes out if they spit on me. But then they took it a step further. They started puking on her. One of the girls started puking on her. It was like 5 girls or 6 girls or whatever it was. And one of them was jamming their finger down their throat while they're kicking her. Some psych patient is jamming a finger down her throat trying to produce vomit and vomits all over the girl. And this fucking poor girl is, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to. And then they told this girl, lick my shoes. Almost like kissed my Converse. Lick my shoes. And the fucking girl licks the shoes. And I'm like, if that was my daughter, I'd be like, yo, we're going to take fighting classes. And then we're going to go back out. We're going to find these girls. And we're going to go John Wick on them. Because there's no way that, and I told my daughter this now. I'm like, you're not licking anybody's shoes. If they kick every tooth out of your face, do not kiss their Converse or lick. And they were like, lick the bottom of my shoe. That's what they said. Lick the bottom of my shoe. And she licked it. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Why the hell are these kids taking this shit to the next level? And I'm watching multiple videos of people, groups, attacking people and just like, for no reason. Something doesn't make sense. It's just something very the fuck off. I mean, like, there's beating a kid's ass and jumping them, but then you got these kids slamming kids' heads into the ground. That girl still can't walk. She's awake now, but she still can't walk. For those of you that might know what I'm talking about, some white girl that got the shit kicked out of her. Had white girls been kicking the shit out of a black girl and did that shit, people be rioting all over the city right now, fucking burning shit to the ground. Oh my God, Shania just got a head smash in the ground. Let's rape Target and fucking Walmart. And that's where they would go to. This white girl gets fucking beat up and nothing happens. They arrested everybody that was involved, but still. So, something is up, guys. Something is not making sense. Yeah, Tony, this is all P. Diddy's fault. Everything that's happening right now is Puff Daddy's fault. And the Puff Daddy shit. How does Puff Daddy go from being a nervous wreck, pacing back and forward, super nervous, fleeing the country, to back in Miami giving a peace sign with no shirt on? He is part of the elites. He got somebody under his thumb, and he's set free now. He is set the fuck free. But, yeah, that whole P. Diddy shit, I wasn't buying it to begin with. But anyway, this whole fucking thing is nothing short of a fucking nightmare, man. It really is. Just the shit that I'm watching, I'm like, why are these kids doing this? Why are people doing this? Why are people overly pissed off? Yeah, Christian Prepper, that's the other thing. I'm seeing people like being disrespectful to their parents. I'm like, but like the girl who got a Tesla. She wanted a BMW, but her mother couldn't afford it, but her mother got her a car anyway. I wish my father would have got me a car for my 16th birthday. Mother gets her a car, and it was a Tesla. And this bitch is like, I don't like that. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the whatever BMW. She said the 3X YRZ T90 X-Ray Nitro Edition color stone black or some shit. Whatever the fuck she said. That's what she wanted from the BMW, and she said all of that, and I would have been like, and the mother was still trying to convince her, and I'm like, as soon as my daughter fixed her lips to say I didn't want, the car's gone back. The car would have, I would have snapped my fingers. Car would have been back at the dealership. Then she told her that she was giving her, I think, like a certain amount of cash, like $1,000 in cash or $2,000 in cash. That's all you giving me? Yo, I'm sorry. You don't hit girls, but that bitch would have got a fucking kick in the vagina. So hard that the next 3 grandkids would have felt it. There's something wrong with the kids today. It's just not making sense. I'm watching kids do dumb shit like dance on top of a truck, and the guy, he ate it. He ate that bridge. He ate that bridge, man. He was on top of the truck breakdancing or some shit, and boom, and fucking that was it. Fell off the truck and died. Almost worthy laughing at, but, you know, something's just not, I don't know, something's not making sense. That's all I'm saying. Yes, thank you, Angel Star, for the donation. And yes, the violence is out of control. It's like, it's just not making sense with people today. Something isn't right, man. Something isn't right. And we're going to talk about that Thursday night on the Angryprepper channel. Also, I am doing a Wednesday midweek report tomorrow as well. So, you know, stay tuned for that bullshit because, you know, all the bullshit that we missed, talking about everything else. But yeah. Listen, everything is falling apart. And as preppers, guys, we definitely need to band together because something isn't making sense. And that bad feeling that I keep having, you know, it gets stronger the closer we get to whatever it is. Like I said, my spidey senses is not going off with the eclipse, but there's just something waiting for us. And I don't know what the fuck it is, but whatever it is, it's going to be bad because everything is starting to ramp up in the direction of bad. And whether you believe in God or not, I think it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's just going to get bad. And we need to definitely do something. Like we need more prepper conventions, like the Kentucky Sustainable Living. We need more shit like that. We need more people to get together, get on the same page, bond together, and grow a better community. Because what's out there right now, it is not conducive, guys. It's not good. It's not good. Time check. Thank you, 1350 Kermit. Appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's bad. And, listen, Raw Food Writer, TikTok is the enemy. You're right. You're 1,000% right. But that can't be just it. And it can't be parenting. There's something else wrong. Something else is off. But and I mean, like, when I look at these videos, I get this impending doom. Like, it's there. It's eating away at me every time I watch a video, and every time I wake up, I'm like, something is bad is going to happen. What the fuck is it and when? And how bad is it going to get? So again, and the shit that I'm seeing with people and their behavior and the way they're acting, something ain't right, man. Welder USA, I hear that. Not that I hear that, I see it. They're definitely coming after preppers because why not, right? Yeah, Sue, evil is undoubtedly ramping up. Like I said, something just isn't jiving. Something is not jiving at all. I don't get what it is. I wish I could tell people exactly what it is. It's not meant for me to tell people what it is. It's not even meant for me to figure it out. But nonetheless, it's bothering me, and it gets to a point where I get like sympathetic chest pains, if that makes sense. It's not really chest pains, but it's like if I had a heart, it would hurt, you know, that kind of shit. But yeah, just something isn't right, man. When I saw them puking on that girl, I'm like, what kind of fucking savage does that? Like, you're sitting there, your friends are kicking this girl, and you're sitting there jamming your fucking hand down your throat, puking all over her. Something ain't right, man. Something is really the fuck off. I just don't know what it is. Yeah, and the thing is, guys, there are a lot of people living in a dream. A lot of people living in a fucking dream. They're not even awake. They're not nearly awake as we are. And I think we're too awake. I think we're so fucking not woke, but awakened that we see a lot of the shit that people can't comprehend. I really do, man. And this is just this bad feeling. I just don't know what else to do. I mean, like, or say, but it's just bad, man. Sean, yeah, road rage is out of control. Kai says anxiety. Is it? Because it's more. I've been anxious a couple times. It's not that. It's like like when I watch those videos, it's like I want to help, right? I want to get in there and start throwing hands with the other chicks, you know? Start grabbing weaves and punching them in the back of the head and kicking them like footballs, you know, and body slamming them and fucking breaking them on the knees like Bane did the Batman, you know? Sucker punching them like Superman in the face, fucking fly kicking them like Bruce Lee, like all kind of, when you see videos like that, you want to jump in there and help, you know? And you never see shit like that. At least I never see shit like that. I only see it in video form. You know, but it's just insane that everybody else just stands around and records this shit. Nobody jumps in either. None of these kids jump in. They all just sit there and watch. Oh my God, they puked all over Sarah. Like, seriously. 7.4 earthquake just hit Taiwan. Someone said an earthquake just hit Japan. I thought Japan got hit with one, or they got hit with one last week. They just got hit with one now? All right. But yeah, guys, again, something's wrong. And this bad feeling, it gets worse and worse. And the thing is, I reset my body. That's the other thing you have to do. I reset the body, or my body, every day. So that I don't wake up anxious and pissed and angry. Well, pissed and angry, that's a different ball game. But I reset the body so I'm not anxious. And I do that every day. Pretty much every morning when I wake up, I try to do these breathing exercises to bring everything down. Because there's no reason, guys, for us to live up here in the red zone with everything going on, because we're going to be in the red zone and be up there for a while. It does nothing for us to be up there now while everything is still midway, for better lack of a word or term. But yeah, once shit gets up there, guys, we're going to be living in the red zone for a while. And that's going to wear a lot of people out, and that's going to cause a lot of people to do stupid shit. But anyway, guys, I'm going to head over to the Angry Truth channel right now. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit. Betty Belcher said ashwagandha is good for anxiety. So is ZMA. So is valerian root. And John's wort. By the way, all of that's good for anxiety. Helps you relax and go to sleep. Breathing exercises bring blood pressure down, brings your heart rate down, can also calm you down as well. I will talk about a lot of that shit on the Angryprepper Fitness channel. But other than that, guys, I'm going to head over to the Angry Truth real quick. We're going to do about 15, 20 minutes or so. And then we're going to go off the air. And then I'll see some of you guys Wednesday morning. I'll see the rest of you guys Thursday night. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit. Thank you for the donations. And I will see a lot of you guys later.